Warning. Warning. You are about to enter the propaganda report with Brad Binkley.
And Ian Covell.
Warning. Warning.
That's right. You've entered the propaganda report with Brad Binkley and Ian Covell on September 2nd, 2025. What year of our Lord? Is that what Steve Bannon always says? And breaking news late this evening, more than 33,000 pages of Epstein documents. Is it 33,000 pages?
33,000.
Of course it's 33. It's always 33.
33,000.
That's the Illuminati number, 33 always.
Yeah.
And released by the House Oversight Committee. Now, I haven't had a chance to read all 33,000 pages yet because they just came out. I tried to search them, and as I suspected, unsearchable, and make the images document images, what they always do with stuff they don't want you to search. So you can't search them. So you have to go through the pages individually, or you can convert them. There's ways to convert them that kind of takes a long time, which most people will never do. But if they really want you to read things, they would make them very much searchable. But what I'm seeing so far on this release, which I think this is all kind of a big joke, what they're doing here, but is they're saying that the documents include flight logs. Already seen those. Court filings. All you got to do is go to Pacer to see court filings. They don't show up on Google searches, but the court filings have been on Pacer and other legal search engines for over a decade. Already there. Surveillance footage from the jail where Epstein died. Already seen that. Already seen that in redacted records, depositions, and memos. All things that were previously public. Then you have one of the Democratic members of the House committee say that 97% of the documents have already been made public. I don't know how that person could know that because there's no way that person could read that. However, the sentiment that they are already known and information that's already been out there, I believe in. I even saw one report that said that the Ghislaine Maxwell interview transcript, which the audio recording was released a couple weeks ago, that she did with, I can't remember who, the Todd Blanche, is also in there, which I had predicted at the time that they're going to release the transcript and audio of Maxwell, and then they're going to call it the Epstein files. They're going to call it an Epstein file for the sake of transparency. So they created an Epstein file and then released it. Nevertheless, it's just there's a lot going on around this today. They also have these 6 victims who testified before Congress, and we were told by Comer, not Comey, but the Republican head of the House committee, that they revealed new names. And I'm going to say there's a pretty good chance that the name Martin Seligman, the man behind Epstein's man behind the curtain, not necessarily Epstein, but whoever is giving Epstein the money, then Epstein would give it to him. The number one, the most influential psychologist in the world, the head of the United States brainwashing industrial complex, still DOJ funded, Epstein funded originally for the project he's currently working on in 2003. I'm guessing his name is not mentioned by the victims or in the documents. If they were, I would be surprised. I think this is all a distraction from the main names that matter, and I'll say them again. I'll keep saying them. You want to really start with an Epstein investigation. Then you subpoena Martin Seligman, Martin Novick, Lawrence Cross, and you can't do Roger Schnack because he's dead, Bill Clinton. Those are the 5 names in the plea letter that got Epstein the sweetheart deal that nobody ever talks about the context of. They willingly lent their names to to help Epstein get that deal. Continue to support him after. You want to talk to people who can give you information because they had a stake in getting him out of prison the first time. Those are who you talk to. But they all have been government funded and worked on government projects for their entire career. Martin Seligman has never been asked about Epstein. So unless they're talking about those guys, I think it's all kind of a facade, personally. Well, do you have any thoughts on this release? Or I know it just broke recently.
I just saw it, like literally right before we got here, and I don't really have any thoughts on it. I have Epstein files fatigue at this point. It just feels like it's never going to happen.
It's not.
You know how you have a crush on a girl for a long time in high school. You have this crush on her, then slowly, one day it just starts to fade. You know what I'm talking about? You've experienced this, I'm sure. A faded that what you call it? A faded crush? No.
Yeah, I've been holding on to my high
You
school
hold
crushes
torches forever. You let it. Yeah. Well,
Still, one day.
You still.
One day we're gonna bump into each other, and I get until I see her as like a 300-pound woman, then
yeah,
I'm still gonna be hanging on.
I don't know. I mean, it'd be great if they release it. It seems like it'd be simple, just like a list of names. I don't know why that takes 33,000 pages. It's just very confusing.
That's exactly right. Yeah, yeah, right. It keeps people
names,
occupied,
alphabetical order.
Yes, and what the relation was, and you can keep a bunch of people consumed by just going page by page. With all everybody's autistic nowadays, so you'll be super focused on going through that. And if you can't search it, the document, then there's going to be some people are going to spend every day of every hour.
What could you fill 33,000 pages with? What is on there?
I guess it depends on how big his penis was.
That's true. Or
Well, it's like
page.
The what you fill a lot of it with is it's in that report where it says it's depositions, it's court documents, it's memo. These court filings are hundreds and hundreds of pages long, thousands. Some of them are thousands of pages because of every single word is transcribed during these testimonies, and that takes up a lot of space. I've gone through over 1,000 pages of these documents years ago, and I've picked it back up over the past couple of years. But that's how court documents work. So you can fill up a lot of pages and a lot of repetitive stuff in there, and then you have another. So like you'll have an Epstein,
just always documents.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, hopefully it's not a trick to get people to download that file on the Google thing, and then there's just a bunch of kid porn on it. People put on their computer because that would certainly be. I don't know. I mean, I know that
they're just giving kid porn away.
Well, I mean, people are begging. I want to see the evidence of the bad stuff. Well, that's going to be the evidence of the bad stuff. I don't know if you want to see that, especially if you're watching it through your own hard drive. Let's leave that to Kash Patel. We know he probably enjoys going through those files quite frequently. But the whole idea of the files is it's just like this. It's vaguely defined thing that, like you said, doesn't produce any. You said the names, anything specific and concrete, and it's all it's a distraction tactic to not produce what would be relevant. And the stuff that I'm talking about,
Brad, the government
is relevant, but they're never going to do it.
They take too much money out of my paycheck for me to pay attention too closely. I have to work too hard.
You're right, and that's the idea.
Closely.
Everybody has to work too hard. Yeah,
Everyone has to work just a little bit too hard. Not so hard that you're going to rebel. Hard enough to keep your dream alive.
Right.
Not
right.
enough to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just it's the Goldilocks level of
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Goldilocks theory of Jeffrey Epstein.
But I agree. Yeah, but this is.
That's why the simplicity
Epstein
of
files
it.
or interest rate cuts. I don't know if I have to have one or the other.
The thing about Epstein files, though, is what they're releasing is not what matters. It is important because the whole thing is tied and connected to control apparatuses around the world. When you look at his actual background, it's undeniable. And you look at Maxwell's background, it's undeniable. Epstein is not a brilliant manipulator. He is, I think, a pawn who was the face of people who were funding him. But confusing it is what is the distraction. And the simplicity of it that we will never see, that people are probably tired of hearing me talk about it now, is who would you want to talk to? I'd want to talk to the people who supported him after he got out of prison the first time, who it's court documented that took money from him, who do psychological brainwashing, behavioral modification research for the government, who still do that research for the government, and who willingly lent their names to a document to help Epstein get out. Those guys have never been like, I denounce him, I don't want anything to do with him.
So you throw Dershowitz into this too?
Well, Dershowitz is...
Or do you think he's just a lawyer, be doing a lawyer thing?
I think Dershowitz is a dirtbag. I've always thought he's a dirtbag. I don't... Dershowitz wrote that letter.
Right. But he's a lawyer, so lawyers do that kind of shit. So
they do, and he said that. But I think the people's names who were in that letter, because Dershowitz had to go to them and get an okay. You're gonna help Epstein get out. And he chose 5 people's names to use. Okay, he didn't.
Right.
A lot of people who he did not choose. Okay,
didn't choose me. Didn't
choose you, didn't you? So because if you put somebody's name in there in this letter that helps Epstein get out, and they don't know that, and they're like, wait a minute, no, I don't. I denounce being used in here as like a character witness. A reference for Jeffrey Epstein. No, I do not agree with this. But this has never happened for these 5 names. Bill Clinton being one of them. That's why I say that's the document you do not want your name in.
What? I know. What?
If you want to be
what? Yeah. All it makes us think is, what does Epstein have on you that he came that you lent your name to this letter?
And the media does not talk about this. Is why it's all a big like it's just a big an illusion operation.
So let's start with those people. All
right.
The
that's
people
the
that
simple
sign
one.
their names.
Exactly.
Easy place to go.
Right. That's the easy, simple answer. But
Right.
nobody knows those names. Everybody wants this. Yeah, that's why it's frustrating to me. What's up, Stoner? Good to see you. I will say something. I don't know what this means for me personally or you personally, but I saw a clip that said Trump was extending no tax on tips to creators. So smash that like and leave those tips, because I guess they're not going to be taxed. I have no idea if that's YouTube might take a portion, but nevertheless,
That's true. Oh yeah, your tips.
Whatever. I don't know what the taxes have been like. Yeah,
I'm a
I don't know
big
if
fan
that
of that. No tax on tips.
changes.
I like the no tax on overtime. I like all
Yeah.
that stuff.
So the Democrats, Force Mommy was telling me last night that the Democrats voted in Colorado. I think she was saying that to two tax tips.
Oh,
It's just the opposite of what they
they
used to say.
yeah.
They wanted to tax the tips now. So it's interesting to me with the Epstein stuff too, to see the reversal, and it's the back and forth of it. Is the Republicans were all about releasing it when Trump was running versus Clinton, and then Trump gets in office, and then the Democrats are all talking about it, and then Trump's out of office, and the Republicans are saying release it again when he was running again, and now Trump's in office, and the Democrats are all enthusiastic about let's release. Remember I showed the clip of Brian Stelter.
Yeah.
10 years,
yeah.
absolutely. With they used to conflate it with Pizzagate and say, no, it's Pizzagate nonsense. But now they're doing stuff like they're having the 6 witnesses who testified to Congress doing a long interview on NBC News. This just dropped. Actually, I was watching it earlier, and then it just cut off and disappeared.
I mean, it does feel a little bit like, the whole Brer Rabbit thing we were talking about. Like, oh, don't throw me into the briar patch.
Right.
It feels a little bit like that. It feels a little bit like him saying, I don't know, like the more he says don't talk about it, the more people talk about it.
Yeah. And
So,
it's
I like entertaining that theory.
Yeah.
That,
Well, if he would say, don't talk about Martin Seligman, I'd be a lot happier if he were to specifically say that. Don't talk about the head of the brainwashing industrial complex.
He might not know about him.
It's a possibility. I can imagine most people don't know about him, because I haven't encountered really anybody who has. I've encountered people who think that they've seen a Seligman name and they thought that was, but it was not actually the most accurate one. This is literally a guy who is very obvious that there's been a concerted effort to not associate him with Jeffrey Epstein. Because doing a controlled internet search, you can't, until recently, until I started talking about him every show that I do and go on, you couldn't find a connection to him and Epstein until, you got to go back to the Edge Institute, which is the elitist billionaire dinner scientific magazine of the elites that Epstein funded, where he's bragging about his friendship with Epstein and a bunch of other things at this world dominator billionaire dinner. But he's the only guy in that document who you can't find commentary or criticism.
Crazy name for a dinner.
They named it different things every single year. They
World
would name
Billionaire Dominator Dinner?
Well, so they called him the one of them was it's called the Billionaires Dinner. Another year it's called the World Domination Dinner.
Is it really called the World Domination Dinner?
They would name it that stuff jokingly. They would name it that.
Oh, that's funny.
And I found a video on the site. I was looking at Martin.
I was that rich that I could make jokes like that.
Yeah, you just joke. The plebes will never
club.
know.
I'd be like, I'm sorry, Brad, I can't be on your show anymore. I'm super rich now.
I'm going to the World Dominator Dinner with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
I found a video on the.
Never even heard of Martin Seligman. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're lying about that guy. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's he tortured
Marty.
dogs for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I found a clip on it was one of these world domination dinners where Martin Novick, the guy, one of the other guys on that document, was giving a speech basically on how to coerce people into complying with you. This is the guy I told you. He was Epstein funded his entire career, his office at Harvard and all that, and he continued to sneak Epstein around at Harvard, continued to take money from him, but hid this source after he got out of prison, tried to help whitewash his reputation after he got out. Epstein called him his favorite scientist. There was a speech he was given at the Edge Institute at one of these dinners, specifically on like how to manipulate time and like force people into decisions, and he was consulted during COVID on how to force people just to shut up and take the jab. And I started going through that video, and I realized Epstein's sitting there just laughing and giggling through the whole thing. Like I don't think anybody really seen that before. I took some screenshots of it. And I'm like, there he is. Who are all there's these other people around him? And I started looking at those people, and it's just kind of crazy that there is stuff out there that people don't know about that's relevant. That I can't remember the name of the guy sitting next to Epstein joking with him during this talk, but I looked him up, and this is another person who might be worth questioning when it comes to wanting to know. Not saying they're guilty, but I'm saying if you want to know information about his operation, these were the people who clearly had a stake in him, you know? So there you go. What's up, JC?
Hey.
Well, there goes my smooth road, says Stoner.
So, oh shit, I had a thought there. Oh, yeah. He said, I like that Epstein had a favorite scientist. Hey, JC. I like that Epstein had a favorite scientist. Who's your favorite scientist, Brad? You got a favorite scientist?
You are.
If you got a favorite scientist, throw it in the chat.
Yeah, what's your top 5 scientists?
What's your top 5 scientists?
Starting five all-star scientists.
Who's your favorite scientist? Fuck yeah, man.
If you could.
I like Doc Brown from Back to the Future.
Yeah, he's number one. He's definitely number one. What's the guy from the 70s? Everybody loved what's that guy's name?
Spock. Could Spock be a scientist?
Yes, I like Spock as a scientist.
He's a scientist.
Not Neil deGrasse Tyson. I don't like Neil deGrasse Tyson, but the guy who was at Neil deGrasse Tyson's like a knockoff of from the 70s. You got somebody's
Mr. Wizard.
No, I'm not sure who Mr. Wizard is.
No, not Mr. Wizard. Mr. Wizard was before all these hacks.
What was the guy from
Dude, you don't remember Mr. Wizard?
I don't know who Mr. Wizard is.
Jeez, dude.
Dr. Fauci is science. No, he is science. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's the guy who was first talking about. I think I played a video of it a little while back where he's talking about
Goodbody.
Crafts like from other dimensions piercing into space, and we only see them as in a different.
Carl Sagan.
Carl Sagan, yes. Yeah, he's got to be
Carl
up there.
Sagan.
I almost said Carl
Sagan's up
Seligman.
there.
Yeah, Carl Sagan.
Carl Sagan.
Yes,
Sagan's
I'd say he's there.
I mean, they're all wrong about their overpopulation stuff, but Sagan had a book called Billions and Billions.
He also was a depopulationist.
His whole
Dr.
thing.
Feelgood.
He was like, the population is out of control.
Yeah.
And he paints this
Dr.
picture in
Pepper.
the beginning of the book that even if we could get people off the planet to another habitable planet, we couldn't build spaceships fast enough to handle the population explosion, and we would get overpopulated anyways. We couldn't get people off the planet fast enough, which is a total lie. This idea that the planet can only handle this, I don't know. We don't need to get sidetracked, but I just think that's just one of the silliest arguments ever. Is can't have too many people, and they took down the Georgia Guidestones. You know, remember they blew them up? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, we still don't know who blew those up.
Had the whole recipe out there.
I know. We don't know who. Bill Nye, this guy's up there.
Yeah,
there you
Bill
go.
Nye.
Yeah, Bill Nye. He's not. Bill Nye's just a pretend scientist, isn't he?
Yeah, Bill Nye is just so whiny and unlikable.
Nikola Tesla. There you go. And Victor.
What about the guy?
Tesla's
remember
up
those
there.
late night infomercials? The guy had all the question marks all over his. He had it was a financial guy. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
I'll find an image.
Ron looks. I think I could beat him pretty quickly. As I run Madani in arm wrestling, not because I'm strong, but because he appears to be very, very feeble in that area. So this did give an opportunity, the Epstein thing, to really what this was is just an opportunity for the most insufferable members of Congress to come out and make it about themselves, like Nancy Mace Nancy Mace is so, she's nothing she says is genuine. She switches just whenever it's politically convenient to do anything. She's the Davy Crockett of the Congressional Women's Bathroom, and so she came out of the hearing today with the witnesses. She storms out of the room in the middle of it. You have these Epstein victims testifying. Nancy Mace kicks the door open, just comes out of the room, just crying, just crying. But of course her tits look great because, my God, if you're going to do a stunt, you better have everybody, those tits better look good. And she storms through and people take pictures. And then she later tweets. This is how she says it. She goes, since it's already being reported, as though that wasn't her intent, she storms through a hallway full of reporters with her mascara strewn down her face and probably, squeezing water into her eyes. I should have a picture of it. Hold on, let me see if I can show you. Mace leaves early crying, which has probably happened a lot of times in her life. All right, where's this? Oh, okay. So here she was. There's Nancy Mace looking like. You can't. The one I saw is a little bit better than this. You can see her breast a little better, but okay. There she is. There she is leaving. This is the middle of this testimony, right? Because she can't take it. She can't. So she's there for the women, but she can't be there for the women because she can't take it. So she leaves. Can't hear the testimony. Nancy never did show us those beefers. Not yet, but she loses that election in South Carolina, and we'll see them on OnlyFans if you want. There she is leaving right there. I'm sure she was probably kicked out because she was like rubbing stuff in her eyes and on her nose to make herself look at. So how do you get this photo? She's leaving and she's acting like nobody, but you get a photo that close up of her. If you look into Nancy Mace's background, I'm not being insensitive here. Nancy Mace is a pathological liar, and that doesn't mean that she can't ever be in some situation where she is abused or something like that. Of course, but Nancy Mace is someone who doesn't deserve anybody's trust on the surface. Like especially like she used to pretend that Trump was endorsing her by posing in front of Trump Towers when Trump was actually supporting the person who ran against her.
Yeah, I remember reading about that.
And so here's what she says. So she does this little stunt here. And then she goes on Twitter and says, since it's already being reported, yes, I left the oversight briefing with Epstein victims early. And she said, as a recent survivor, not 2 years in, I had a very difficult time listening to their stories. Full-blown panic attack. Sweating, hyperventilating, shaking. Jesus. I don't mean to laugh at that. I just imagine sitting in that hearing and seeing Nancy Mace. You ever see somebody work themselves up before a scene?
Look, it's one of those. Yes, it's one of those situations where it just tests your. It tests your sympathy. It really does, because she does it a lot.
Does it all the time.
All the time. And
right.
it's like Nancy. You knew what you were getting into.
Yeah, she's getting on moist, says TC. Yeah, absolutely.
You knew what you were getting into.
She was literally shaking, says Courtney. Yeah, so with Nancy, she doesn't deserve that because Nancy's like I've never heard Nancy Mace talk about having panic attacks before.
We should hand out an acting award. We should hand out acting
every
awards every year to politicians. We'll start doing a show here, Brad. When they're doing the academies, you and I'll start handing out awards.
Political.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nancy Mace, she gets the future OnlyFans.
Ugly actors. That's all politicians are.
Well, they're getting better looking now. They're becoming, and the actors are becoming uglier. They're becoming like trans and like lesbian. So it's kind of flipping a little bit. And Nadler just quit today, so there's an opportunity for a better looking. Democrat to arise. Maybe
that's gonna be an easy win for anyone.
Yeah, you can only get better when he leaves. So she
Nadler
can full.
Looks like a bat and an elf. He looks like a bat, like a bat person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He
looks like he smells really bad. Yeah. No, he's sucking on. It's disgusting. It's like gives Nancy Mace panic attacks just hearing him. So she said,
"It's like Grandpa from the Munsters."
God.
who's the best character on the Munsters too.
Here's what she said in the rest of her tweet. Full-blown panic attack, sweating, hyperventilating, shaking, I can't breathe. She threw I can't breathe in there. She threw the George Floyd I can't breathe in there with this. I feel the immense pain of how hard the victims are fighting for themselves because we know absolutely no one will fight for us. God bless all that survived. So she was sexually harassed by Jeffrey Epstein. Apparently Nancy Mace was. What? It's just never miss an opportunity to make it about yourself. And then you have Jasmine Crockett. So everybody suddenly nobody cared. Nobody wanted to talk about it years ago. Yeah. So does she do her white voice or her black voice when she's? I don't know which one. I haven't watched the video yet.
It's called code switching, and white supremacy forces her to do it.
That'd be a great. If she actually said that, I would be impressed. If she said, I have to do it because of what? And she like switched it within the same sentence. Like,
how come
I have to do it.
How come no white person can ever use their white privilege to get her to shut up? There's no good. White privilege is no good if you can't use it to shut people like Jasmine Crockett up.
Nobody taught me how to use white privilege. I'd use it.
Know.
The only circumstance I feel like I can use white privilege is at Walmart. They have this new option to either have your print your receipt or get no receipt. I feel I can do no receipt and still get out of there without getting.
Dude, I think they check my shit all the time.
Really?
All the time.
Really?
I always try to walk by. Sometimes I'm like, nope, sorry, in a hurry, and I just keep going.
I just stop and say, I don't think you understand. I'm white, and I keep going after that.
Or you stop and you help him out.
Yeah. So no, let's get this guy.
They never look at my receipt. I know what they're like. I give them the receipt. I do it though because I just want to see what they do, because they're not doing anything. The guy looks at it and goes. And
I have little pieces of paper.
He looks at my car and he goes.
He didn't look at anything. Yeah, I show him little pieces of paper that have penises drawn on them, and he's like,
"Yeah." And he goes, "All right,
that's it. It looks right." Let's see. Let's watch like a minute of this to see how she presents herself.
Thank you so much. And first of all, let me just say that we are standing before you. We're having this.
It's like a little bit of a not too.
Yeah, she's not
ratchet voice.
Yeah, she's not angry
conversation because of the.
Look at that hair over there behind her and over her left shoulder. What's going on? What's going on with that lady?
Oversight, Democratic leadership, and so I want to reiterate that it's the Democratic leadership on oversight that has truly been able to move this forward. I'm sure many of you don't recall, but we were sent home early to try to avoid being able to take a vote on something like getting these files. We are about doing real transparency. We don't care who's in the files. We are going after you. So if I had to sum up what happened today, we heard the stories of victims, and honestly, we heard the story of at least one person that has never come forward before today. This was the very first time that she was telling anyone in a semi-public way her story. And if I had to summarize the theme, I would say that their theme was to do something. It is probably the theme of the American people in general right now when it comes to government, is that they want us to do something. So
because she starts sounding like a demon there at the end.
We want us to do something.
Okay, so
I hate that fucking phrase.
Yeah. So I know. So the girl she's talking about that came forward before, and so this is where you run the risk of having people who are actually victimized with people who can just jump on board without being vetted and be called a victim. It's the hashtag Me Too problem. Remember where somebody being brutally raped in an alley is treated the exact same way as someone who gets bumped up against in a crowded bar, which they actually had back to back in a montage of a Washington Post about. And they were presenting hashtag Me Too victims. And the result is that neither gets any actual justice because one of them, nothing actually happened to. The other got clumped in. And therefore, because of such rampant accusations in that time, the real ones don't get the treatment that they deserve. And you can start to throw people in like this who maybe something happened, but you don't really know because it's just trusted immediately. And the one she's talking about, I thought it was funny that she caught herself saying like almost hashtag Me Too during her this interview that they did today. And I'll show it to you. I believe this is the right part of it. But yeah, she's never come forward today. She never told anybody about her accusation, according to this interview, until just recently. So she just now told people about it, and all of a sudden she's on this panel. I haven't had time to look into her, so I don't know.
How do you?
How does it happen?
What's the first phone call you make?
Yeah, who do you call? Who's the call?
Who's the first phone? Who do you email? Do you just send out a tweet? What do you do?
Right. At one point, she says, I don't know if it's going to show this part in this interview here, but at one point she goes, "Yeah, no, I just want people to know that anybody could be a victim." She's talking about Epstein, but she goes, "Your neighbor could be." Your neighbor could be somebody you pass in the grocery store could be a victim. She actually said that in this. And I'm like, so do we need to start?
My neighbors are a family. It's a multi-generational Korean family. Do you think they're victims?
Have you asked them if
There's
they
like
were
7 of
victimized?
them living over there.
You need to ask them.
I'm going to
ask them if they're victimized.
I get along very well with them. Just because I'm white doesn't mean I don't get along with them.
I'm going to start asking everybody in the grocery store if they were victimized by Epstein, just to be sure, because that's kind of the background of this. Yeah. I'm not saying something didn't happen to her. I'm just saying
only the kids speak English, so I'll ask them first. The
youngest.
I'll ask the youngest
definitely.
One first.
All right, so let's watch this part here.
Deciding to speak and to share your story now
because not everybody is getting justice, and that's not right. Just because you think that some victims in their mind got justice, that it's not right. The everyday person is out there, and that's me, and we're victims. You could be, your neighbor could be a victim, and you don't know it. The person you pass in a grocery store, and they're not talking. And I think that, like she said,
that's how many people were victimized by Epstein? Is this like COVID?
Well, so
level?
that's why it's like, yeah, and so it's like she's doing the hashtag Me Too stuff. That's when I started thinking that, and then she actually says that here and then catches herself.
Even if I'm just counted as statistically in numbers as another victim, that's enough for me. They're not protecting our youth. They're continuing to allow the same thing that happened to us.
Feels like she's remembering fragments of like pieces of paper where phrases like fortune cookies, where like phrases were written. It seems like she's just piecing together little tiny fragments.
Yeah, it's something weird about it. If I were legitimately something happened, I would kind of be wondering about this person. And you're right. Where does that call from? How do they find this person?
How much she had to drink, ma'am? How much have it? She
does look a little drugged up, doesn't she?
Little painkiller action going on here.
She seems a little special, says Courtney. She does.
She's got that
little mole there.
Still, maybe not with them, but it happens, and it's happening. So I took my time in saying something, and I've always been in contact.
Yeah, well, so that's Gouffre's brother. Okay. One of the guy, the one who died recently, but yes, the rest of them. Yeah. At the beginning of, I'll show you what she said at the beginning.
Just have them sitting so far apart.
I had a young daughter trying to start my career. It was a big shock to my husband. So I took the time and I said when I felt like I was ready, it's not a secret. It's just something that I didn't normally talk about. Yeah. So
she told her husband first.
She just now told her husband is what she said. Yeah.
I'm ready to say, you know what? If I am the everyday Joe Schmo, and I have this story, I know I want to be able to inspire other people to say, hey, me too. I mean, I hate this. I don't want to say the me too. I'm not trying to do that, but
me also.
I don't want to say that because she recognized like that's the. I mean, that's a discrediting thing at this point to do that.
That's why she's chuckling at herself.
Right? Yeah. It's a little. I'd be pretty pissed off at the inclusion of this person, unless it was like vetted. Like none of these people, because she started the question off with, "You guys don't all know each other," which I think means that none of them know her. So that to me that would piss me off.
I guess
if I didn't see the.
I was just gonna say the same thing, TT. I guess we're all Epstein victims.
Yeah, well, you should be up there in that panel. So watch how she introduces this segment here. NBC, the journalist here. Well, I say journalist, but I think it's funny.
A show of hands here. If you or somebody you love was abused or trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell.
So it'd be funny if somebody went, "Oh shit, I'm in the wrong place," and they got up and walked out.
You or someone I love. Why? Yeah. Why the show of hands? Why?
Yeah, why else would they be there? If that...
We know why they're fucking there.
I know. Hey, what is that?
And
sorry.
And they think their problem is they don't have a left-wing Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what they think their problem is.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think that's it's actually the main problem for them. All right, I know you got to go.
Joe Rogan speaks for any, you know what I mean?
For everybody. They want you to think that because they.
Oh, he had Dave Smith on there the other day. Ever since you started pointing out him, I'm not really big. You sort of. Is that should I not be revealing that?
No, I don't. So Dave Smith, my thing. I tell people about Dave Smith. People on either side of it who are that big of influencers. There's a lot of things I agree with that they say, and Dave Smith, I think he speaks his stuff very well. But there's some things about him that I have a lot of questions about, like what he did with his presidential run for the Libertarian Party. I thought was very, very shitty. There was a huge support effort around him, and I don't think he gave them the honesty that they deserve. And it goes back to my what I talked about with the influencer model of the profit model, and there's a profit maximization thing going on where people who might seem to be fighting, like I think that Dave Smith and probably James Lindsay are probably BFF, honestly, and they're getting together and collaborating. Let's have a big fight today so we can charge up our things and we can cut clips of each other and act like we won and jack up those profits. That's what somebody who is maximizing profit would do.
I like James Lindsay. He's got good stuff.
Well, I say both of them say things that I agree with. Both of them say things I disagree with. Yeah. But there's things that they've both done that seem to be a little bit con artistry. And maybe I'm wrong. But I just. My whole thing is to call out propaganda tricks, and when I see them, I try and call them out. And I see them in even people who I agree with quite often, whether intentional or unintentional. So yeah, but I know he can now. I know you're not a fan of him. We can jack each other up. I know people who know him and like him. So I haven't met him really personally. I've been around him, but
I don't really have a very strong opinion either way.
I think he's a great speaker.
I'm sort of indifferent.
Yeah. And he does, like, he speaks the position of libertarians well for that purpose and whatnot. I just, I talked to some people about in the Libertarian Party and who were put their support and their effort behind him and their money behind him.
He had an interesting. There's a guy, Andrew Wilson, who I've recently been following. You know who Andrew Wilson is?
I've heard the name.
Stuff. They get into an interesting debate about rights and morals and where they come from. It's very interesting. He kind of falls apart in the debate, but it's also something it's my criticism of a lot of libertarian stuff. I like libertarians.
Yeah.
But freedom has to have a purpose.
Yeah, right.
It can't just be.
The Libertarian Party is one that can be, because of the division of it, it's one that's kind of ripe there for the capture. But of course, in the right and left is also in all politics. And Romulik says Dave doesn't strike me as a con artist, but I could be convinced otherwise. I have questions, and like I said, a lot of stuff he says I agree with. I think that he's been fortunate enough to be go on a tour of debating a bunch of Nimrods, and it's it's great to see somebody rip Chris Cuomo apart, but it's also very easy to rip Chris Cuomo apart. But it's also fun to see and whatnot. I just. I'd have to go into some of the deeper conversations I've had that just make me it's always like I just always kind of keep an eye out for a big influencers that things seem a little bit peculiar sometimes. But again, there could be other explanations.
I know you're right. I do have to go soon, so I don't want to distract you. But did you see the whole thing about Chorus? Are you familiar with this story? Did you already talk about it? Chorus? You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't think so.
So a bunch of, I watch a lot of left-wing guys. And so David Pakman and Brian Taylor Cohn and a few others have been caught up. They were all getting paid by this nonprofit, this group. I don't know if it's a nonprofit, by this organization, giving each of these channels $8,000 a month. all of these channels saying, "Oh no, we weren't being told what to say." They all had to sign NDAs. Wired magazine just did an article about it, so you can check it out.
So Wired was talking about David Patton, the liberals.
This is a left fighting the left story, which is probably why it hasn't come across your radar. But it's everything you're talking about. Chorus is this group that has gone and made a collective of independent voices and organized them to fight against the organized right voice, which is stupid. There is no organized voice on the other side. There's just a bunch of people talking and debating, and then there's this other group of people trying to control a narrative. That's it. That's what's happening.
And the Chorus is left-leaning people.
Yeah, Chorus is very left. It's all left-leaning. All left-leaning. But they don't understand what their Chorus is.
There are a little bit of organized, at least either at the top, and it does trickle down when it comes to like the Fox News side of some of the stuff, and like Charlie Kirk's side of stuff.
They wanted to build a new infrastructure to fund independent progressive voices. That was there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And no, it's what's his name? Tim Dillon.
And it's Taylor Lorenz wrote it,
Oh yeah, she's great. She's really
right.
fantastic.
So that's what's crazy about it it's the Taylor Lorenzes and the Hassan Pikers and the super far lefties
all big influencers in that sphere.
Yeah, mad because they didn't get any Chorus money probably.
Right, but so they all get money off of triggering people to get mad though. But it's just like I don't know. The whole model of political influence, especially knowing that the podcast sphere is being targeted and has been for capture by the World Economic Forum, where they identified the main controlling institutions have lost a trust, and so now we need to rebuild trust, and that focus was on podcasting sphere, and so we started to see all these people drop out of mainstream media and then pretend to be in their basement and whatnot, and it's people who are captured or are funded and stuff are going to sound like people who aren't, and it's the whole thing about the best way to hide a lie is in between two truths. That's why, as hard as it is, even the people who are genuine and authentic and that you like a lot are going to get it wrong. I mean, everybody gets it wrong. So with that said, for me, the best way to avoid deception from those who you have come to trust a lot because you identify with them and you like them is to separate the content from the source it's coming from and analyze the content as best you can with the time that you have, and look for reasons. When I see a story that my confirmation bias starts to get moist, as I've been saying, I take a pause and I say I need to ask the questions that someone who would kind of be wary of this asks, because I feel like I'm being pulled into that one a little too quickly, and that's where I started from. Because I know it's designed to trigger that in my brain to make me feel really good and go, yes. And so that's where I'm like, all right, let me ask the questions I would. Who, what, when, where, how, what's left, what's in there, what's out of context, what are they not telling me? And going to say not a lot of money in doing that. I'll tell you that. Not a lot of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's
you
for me.
You got to write a kid's book. You got to write a kid's. We got to get
like
you to
Cash
some
Patel?
merch. You got to write a kid's book. Yeah, that seems to be the new thing. You need to write a kid's book.
Apparently, yes,
how
you're
kids
right.
can recognize propaganda.
Right. Yeah,
maybe a propaganda report coloring book.
Yeah. No, so I'm not friends with him, and I don't dislike him. I have questions, and that's what I do is I question. Maybe I'll meet him, and I would like him.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying. This is what I like about, I guess, this side of the discussion is that, people can just talk and disagree, but on the other side, it seems like the other side of that is you must toe a party line. You have to have this exact opinion. It just seems too hard to be progressive. It's too difficult.
Well, yeah, it is, especially with some of the having to protest and do your hair purple and whatnot. But with the thing with somebody like Dave is like, So when I was at the Libertarian National Convention, I joke, and I make fun of myself for it. I recognize it. I joked with some of my close friends who are libertarians. I'd be like, that guy's a Fed. That guy, like, I'm like, my first instinct is to be like, everybody's a Fed. Watch out. At one point, I was walking up the elevator, just joking around, going, Fed. Hey, there's that Fed. I was just being retarded because I do recognize that.
Brad, this is all part of your kids' show.
Right. Yeah.
Right here, this is a great segment that we do every week where we take the kids out and we teach them how to spot Feds.
Right. You just call everybody a Fed until proven otherwise.
Right.
Is basically what it is. That's my starting from a place of questioning, and I am also aware that there are other explanations for things. So I'm not. I feel like my job is to question stuff when it seems to not get questioned on one side or another. And it's just so the whole political propaganda angle is to divide people into these different groups and to get those groups to never question a word the prominent influencers in those groups say. And I feel like my job is to, even if I'm in those groups, and I am, and everybody's in a group, that I still need to question the influencers of my group even harder than ones I would in the others, so I'm already not going to believe. Because I think that's the difficult thing to do, in my opinion, and the least profitable thing to do also. Well, Romlix, that's a question that I won't answer on air.
I got to get
But
going,
I have
Brad.
answered behind, so I can tell, maybe some other time. All right, Ian, thanks for hanging out. And I'll hit
Always fun,
another
man.
quick story or so, and then I'm going to get out of
Yeah,
too.
see
We'll
you
talk to you.
Thursday.
Talk to you soon, man. Talk to you Thursday. Have
All
a
right.
good one.
Bye, everybody.
See you later. Yeah, I and I understand people are people do their thing. There's a lot of incentive in the online sphere to grift, to be extreme and radical. People are incentivized to pick fights, are incentivized to be super sensational. It's like it's a model that's being created. That to get attention, you got to do these extreme things that end up turning a lot of people into kind of propagandists. Now, if you're getting attention with a lot of big stuff, and then you're given actual valuable stuff, I do understand that. There's a lot of people that are big influencers who I do have questions about, but I think a lot of the information they give is good, and that's why I always say focus on the content. Because even the CIA can tell you valuable information sometimes, but I'm certainly not going to trust everything that they say. So my thing is don't judge information by its source, which is the opposite of what they want you to do. From the World Economic Forum order, and it's always been this way, is these are the trusted sources. Now we have the trusted sources in the influencer community, and some of them sometimes seem a little bit like the mainstream community. It's just very distrustful of everything. Yes, I agree with that a little bit, TT, but there's I don't want to bum anybody out about somebody who they like. There's things I like about some of these influencers. I think somebody like Dave Smith, I think he's a very skilled communicator. I really do. He's very impressive the way he communicates. I just like everybody, I have questions. Maybe I meet with him one time and I'm like, oh man, I even tell people that I've met before, but like, man, I used to think you're Fed, but I met you and I realized I was just, it's like, we live in this era where it's so, especially if you study like propaganda and stuff, it's so prevalent, so everywhere, and it's ripe to just with the way screens are right in our faces all the time, and the way everything's so divided and our emotions can be charged up. The propagandistic communication is just it's so easy to dip in there, and a little bit of over skepticism. I think sometimes people are not skeptical enough. Sometimes people are over skeptical, and I think I probably fall on the latter. But I'm also very I'm not. I don't hold grudges against people, or I'm open. I love people. Actually, I think everybody, even if I distrust at first or don't like things they do, I think most people are good people, and I think most people do things for what they believe to be the right reasons, even if it doesn't seem that way to others. Now, I think there's also a smaller class of people who are these elitists who they might convince themselves that they're doing whatever they want to do for their group of people, but I think what they do is treat the rest of society like cattle, and that I'm not okay with. I'm not okay with that. But for the rest of the people, it's kind of a game. It's a society that we live in, and there's people learn to survive under the conditions of the society that exists in their era, and it makes me think of this person I knew when I was younger. That she grew up on the streets. She was like a foster kid. She grew up on the streets, conning and manipulating people, and that's all she knew, and she was very good at it. And it was once me and another friend kind of realized that that's what this person was doing, and it was in a comedy club that I worked at, and there's a couple, like, she was kind of manipulating people out of money, and telling lies that we knew were lies because they were about us. And it's like, that's definitely not true. And then realizing that this was a type of personality and behavior that I had never even comprehended, that somebody could be such a committed deceiver. Like, I had never experienced that in my life at that time. It was extraordinary to me because it was so beyond the realm of what I even knew existed. And it's like, oh, before that, I wouldn't believe, if somebody told me, described the behavior that this person was doing before I met this person, I wouldn't have believed them. I would have thought they're exaggerating. It's probably not true. But then when I met this person, I was like, holy cow. And that's when I discovered that when I would tell someone, watch out, they would get mad at me. It's kind of like, you just kind of, it's a delicate thing. You know, you don't want people you care about to get deceived. You don't want to be deceived yourself. You don't want people you care about to be deceived, but also it's hard to just, I don't like to throw accusations out, and I don't intend to accuse people of things right now. I really don't. I have questions. I just have questions. That's all. Owen is the best. You guys talking about Alex and Owen? Look, I would say disagree. Let me go back to some of the comments here. Let's see. Colorist book for bigots. There you go, D's last. That's funny. Clint. It's about Chaser. I share your distrust everything, but I don't know, man. Some people were so good during COVID, and he had we had almost nobody during that time. No, he was good. Honestly, I'm giving myself a little credit here. And Monica and I were better. We didn't have as big of a cloud as he did, but Monica and I was on the ground. My mom had a rare condition. I was in hospitals every other day. I was telling people, I read the entire documents, and we've gotten a lot of, and we did get a lot of credit for that, and I do appreciate it. But he did. He was right. He did great. He was right. He was completely agreed with. I never knew who he was during that time, actually. But when I see it back on the stuff, he was right. There was a number of people who were right about that stuff. 100%. And he should get credit for that. Absolutely. Oh, yes, I agree with you, D's laughs. I do agree with that perspective of your talking about NDS. Most people sucked during COVID. You were listening to Owen Benjamin, and yeah, Owen's right. It was anytime, where there's so much heavy pressure to try and get you to do something without thought. It's like, it's crazy, man. And being in hospitals and around doctors, because my parents were elderly, and my mom required care for years. Had to be at the doctor 4 or 5 days a week for appointments, so we had to be there. And I had lots and lots of stories from that era. Thank you. But you're right though. You are right though about Dave. He did. He was on the mark, and so was Owen during COVID. So was Sam. So was a lot of people were asking the right questions back then. Which is funny too now, because it's like I saw this. I've talked about this on the show, but I saw Jake Tapper, who was absolutely, you need to go get your jab right now and trust the scientists during COVID, bring his daughter on last August to promote her book, which was all about how you need to question your doctors because his daughter had a disease and something happened, and the doctors got it wrong. And her book's all about how you need to question your doctors and question your authorities. And I'm like, wow, but what a crock. Accurate, yes, that's correct. But what a crock of shit that Jake Tapper gets to do that all the time. He just gets to say one thing and then a few months later act like he never said it, and then make money off of taking the position everybody else took prior to that. Thank you, Romlux. No, you're right. That hope is an active resistance. Is something I talk about a lot. It's demoralization campaigns are designed to demoralize you by creating this illusion of power in these structures. It's in the art of war. And if that's the premise, then having hope and finding reasons to have hope and take action with hope in your heart is in and of itself an act of resistance, because they depend on you not having any hope whatsoever. So yes, thank you for that. So the censorship sucked during COVID. It was terrible. I remember Facebook banning me for posting. Yeah, I'm sorry you got banned for that. It's crazy what could get you banned. And that was kind of the culmination of stuff too. I remember before that you could get banned for talking about Sandy Hook. Even if you're just asking why is there a picture of this kid who died at Sandy Hook at this shooting in India, in another country, same picture in this memorial. You post that picture, you get your website taken down. You talk about the Las Vegas shooting, you get your videos taken down. And then it got to COVID, and it's just like everything is silenced. Which is why I love to point out that there is a country that loves Dr. Fauci, that gave Dr. Fauci $1 million award that, I can't remember the name of this award, but it is considered the highest award or medal to give to an individual in this country. Not you don't have to be from the country to get it, but this award that this country gives out, and you probably already guessed it's Israel loves Dr. Fauci, just like they love abortion more than any other country in the world. It's baffling to me that progressives hate Israel and Republicans love it. Some of them anyway, nevertheless. All right, let me do this other. What else was I going to talk about? Like 2 other stories I wanted to make sure to get to. So I haven't read this story, but I just thought the headline was interesting. I thought we could go through it here. Bosom pole dancer tears up the stage at state fair. What's a bosom pole dancer? I guess it's just a busty pole dancer. Is that what that means? Is there a non-bosom pole dancer? I'm not sure. Leaving families blushing over racy routine. Oh, let me make this a little bit bigger here. A blush-worthy pole dancing exhibition at the annual Colorado State Fair in Pueblo has organizers red-faced and locals griping that the raunchy display is a bit too racy for the family-friendly fair. I was a little too shocked that this is happening out there, a fairgoer, Nolan says. It was inappropriate for our kids. Another attendee said, this is a kid's location. So I was at Dragon Con briefly this past weekend, and I'll tell you what, there's a lot of OnlyFans models there twerking like in the lobby of a hotel half naked. And then just like right there, just families dressed up as Star Trek with their kids. It's like a weird little combination. Courtney says Nancy Mace probably knows what a bosom pole dancing. Nancy Mace is going to be there, and so Nancy Mace is going to be at this state fair pole pretty soon. And I think she's going to be a lot more popular when she does that. I think she'll have a reemergence. The controversy stems from a demonstration at the fair on Friday when a pole was erected on a stage and used to demonstrate the art of pole dancing. Oh, there it is. There's a photo. I got to say, I feel like you could have got a little better pole dancer from this image here. What was this camera from like 19? Okay, somebody like took a picture in the mirror, it looks like. Is that a mirror? It's not a high quality photo there. Pole was erected on a stage and used to demonstrate the art of pole dancing, a common tool for strippers that has gained popularity in recent years as an exercise regimen. So it was an exercise instruction. However, the daring demonstration went viral, leaving organizers red-faced, maybe a little moist, over the stunt. Andrea Weisserman, the fair's general manager, said organizers were blindsided. She said at some point they brought in a third party with a peacock, full fitness and body art. So that was not on our list, not on our schedule, and we were not aware. But what about when the pole was being erected? There's another image of this person on all fours, not even on the pole anymore. So did she fall down, or is she like twerking? Is the question. I love. Look at this old man sitting right in front of her. That's like grandpa right there. He is front row, and then over here is like a 15-year-old kid. Yeah, just had to use erected in the writing. Yeah, they love to throw a little innuendo, a little wordplay in there. Of course, it's in Colorado. There she is again. She is not. I have to say the choice of the pole dancer is the most offensive thing here. I mean, good God. She's had a funnel cake or two, there's no doubt. Footage of the event aired by KDVR shows a handful of spectators looking on as a full-figured, to say the least, woman is seen bending over on stage, then climbs the pole and pulls off several acrobatic moves. But even though the display raised some eyebrows, some didn't see what the big deal was. Well, the big deal was what was on stage. Stop complaining about everything, griped Gilbert Gritz, a former clerk for Pueblo. Stop being so negative about everything and look for the beauty in life, in art and culture. That's probably that old man that was sitting in the front who said that. I would absolutely support this lady coming back next year. And I would tell her to continue her beautiful artistic expression, Ortiz said. Yeah, Ortiz was where the Third Eye Carnival was, the recent one. Dude in the white totally had a chub. Yeah, I think so. I think that's who's being quoted right here. Probably. That looks like the end of it. So the first comment here, this is funny, on this article says, bosom, ? Is that what you call obese nowadays? It used to be curvy, which was also a poor label. I think obese works just fine. As for children, if you're going to show it to them, use it as a cautionary tale. And then someone goes down to explain bosom refers to cleavage. Curvy refers to waist-hips ratio. Thank you for the explanation there. She is shaped like a rectangle. How about overweight is what the Jesus. Oh, the comments are pretty funny on those sometimes. All right. So I just saw this story about this Irish comedian who is called Gran Lynham. He created Father Ted and the IT Crowd or something like that. Yeah, the It Crowd. I think it's a pretty good show. I remember that. He was arrested at London Airport by armed Metropolitan Police over 3 gender-critical posts on X. And they say that he was suspected for inciting violence through his criticisms of transgender activists, leading to bail restrictions, barring him from, I don't know what platform he's barred from, but I want to see what his posts are. I guess that's him. The moment I stepped off the plane, 5 armed police officers were waiting. Not 1, not 2, 5. They escorted me to a private area and told me I was under arrest for 3 tweets. He reshared the offending post on X. What are they? He made these posts in April? Yeah, he posted these in April. So this must be the first time he's in London. That's crazy. That's crazy. Why was it on their radar, I wonder? I still want to make an example. One of the posts showed a picture of a trans rights rally with a caption that said, "A photo you can smell." Does that incite violence? I don't think so. The same day he posted, quote, "I hate them. Misogynist and homophobes. F them." Is that transphobic, that post? Or are they saying he's being sarcastic? I don't understand how that's... On April 20th, he wrote, "If a trans-identified male is in a female-only space, he is committing a violent, abusive act. Make a scene, call the cops, and if all else fails, punch him in the balls." Those are the posts that got him arrested. Is a trans-identified male? I thought a trans-identified male would be a female biologically and vice versa. I don't know. This seems to be like a demonstration by the UK of their crackdown on any kind of like free speech or what they call hate speech. Because that's ridiculous. That goes to show you, like, because people have been talking about the flag burning thing, which is just another little, like, it's another little misdirection in the art, a display of the art of propaganda also, the way that was kind of rolled out. But the question of what constitutes inciting violence, that's not really concretely defined, and that can be kind of vaguely interpreted. And we see here how the UK has a very broad definition of what constitutes inciting violence. Really anything critical of some sort of protected civil class, like in this case, the transgender. That's an interesting story there. There's probably more to that. I'm sure there's more to that we don't know, just like there's more to everything we don't know. All right, is that it? The last one. This is a quick one. One more quick one, and that's it. All right, this is a... this is a story about a police officer. Miami cop. She's kind of hot, I have to say. She's pretty good looking, Miami cop. Miami cop arrested after allegedly firing gun during inappropriate messages argument with her boyfriend. It's not good. It's not good. Miami cop was arrested and fired from her job after she shot her gun during an argument with her boyfriend over, quote, inappropriate messages she found on his phone. Why is she looking at his phone? What are the messages, obviously? But why is she looking at his phone? This relationship right off the bat has a trust problem. TT says, like a transformer, there's more than meets the eye. That's very good. I like that. Stephanie Canizares, 27, turned herself in Friday after initially fleeing when cops arrived at the couple's home. She then admitted to cops that the frightening incident was sparked after she found the text in her partner's phone. I mean, look at her. She looks like you don't want to mess with her, and she's also a hottie. You know those mugshots of like the hotties, the baddies? I think she probably is going to end up on that. Cara Zia's boyfriend told the deputies the pair had been having relationship issues for the past few days. When he arrived at the house on Friday, he found her outside holding the gun. So he comes home. They'd been having issues. She checked his phone, didn't like what she saw. Did he leave his phone at home? I wonder. Imagine that you come home and your chick's holding, she's got a weapon standing outside. She refused to come inside when he asked. And then she fired a shot from her weapon. That's holy shit. Nobody was hit. Oh my gosh. The boyfriend, who has not been identified, it's probably in police protection, looked inside and wait, no, hold on, I can't read that. My vision's getting bad. The boyfriend, who has not been identified, bolted inside and locked himself in one of the bedrooms with his young daughter and his own gun. Jesus. Hours later, Cazares called the police and turned herself in, handing over her firearm with a spent casing inside. She told investigators the shooting was sparked by the discovery of inappropriate messages in her boyfriend's phone, and she was charged with aggressive assault with a firearm and discharging it outdoors in a residential area. There she is right there, speaking at a domestic argument. Wait, no, that's just what the lower third is. Domestic argument leads to officer arrest, and it has a photo of her looking like she's singing karaoke at like some sort of international police event. No, she's singing the national anthem at a swearing-in ceremony for former police officer. Wow, so she's a singer. She was initially taken into the hospital after displaying abnormal behavior before she was booked into a jail on Sunday. She bonded out on Monday. A Miami Police Department confirmed that she has been relieved of her duty with pay pending the results of the investigation. Video shows her singing the national anthem at a swearing-in of a former police officer in 2021. So we didn't get to find out the text messages. That's disappointing. Very, very, very disappointing. Mug shotties. Yes, that's it. That's it right there. What's the best state to get arrested by attractive cop ladies? That's a great question. That's a great question. But yeah, where are the hottest police officers getting hired? I don't know where that would be. Where was she from again? What was her? Was it Florida? Was it? We'll have to investigate that question. Finally, from TMZ, which is about as reliable as any other news network at this point. The war over OnlyFans. Porn cost me cushy university gig, but we gained many fans. That's the headline there. Then you have this photo of, I believe, the guy on the left with the creepy look on his face is the professor, and that is his wife on the right, who must be an OnlyFans model. OnlyFans was a double-edged sword for former University of Wisconsin lacrosse chancellor Joe Go. His name is Joe Gow, Joegow, and his wife, Cameron Wilson. Their adult content got him fired from a cushy, nice little wordplay, job, but it gained them tons of new paying subscribers. Who's paying for this? Who's paying to watch this right here? What are the demographics who are paying to watch whatever these two are doing on OnlyFans? Joe and Cameron joined us on TMZ Live Tuesday and detailed how their pornographic home video got him sacked from university job. So they did an interview. The middle-aged couple says everything changed when they uploaded their OnlyFans video to Pornhub, a less restrictive website than OnlyFans. They say some reported their video to his university and he got fired. Well, of course he's going to get fired for that. What do you expect? He probably wanted to get fired, trying to get canceled so he can do his porn career. Cameron's former university professor. Cameron's a former university professor. So these are smart folks, and we asked them straight up if they knew the videos would get them fired. That's a good question. Joe says it was a bit of a surprise, but it sounds like the controversy only expedited an impending departure, and now, so yeah, they did it on purpose. And now they're going to pursue a lawsuit. Do a little lawfare. Before Joe was known as a university chancellor who got fired for shooting porn, his OnlyFans page only had a few followers. Wow. But when his story went viral, they added several thousand subscriptions in a single day. And now Cameron says they're a big hit with students. Oh, God. So they only had a few followers. They put it on Pornhub. He gets canceled, fired. And all of a sudden, his students are subscribing? Joe and Cameron are featured in our new documentary. TMZ presents The War Over OnlyFans. This is an advertisement for that, is what that is. Let's see if they say anything here in this little interview.
Well, we were making these videos. We've always had this pleasure in creating erotic video. And we actually got into the professional industry and worked with some people there and made some videos, but it all was just for us and for fun. And then we thought, this stuff's really interesting and maybe people who are into it would want to see it. And so we put it on OnlyFans because we thought, that's a safe place. Anybody who's there, they're obviously interested in sexual material. And if they aren't, how do they explain that? And we had maybe 5 followers. And then
5 followers, he says. Who were those 5? 2 of them were them. Adam Schiff was probably one of them.
We put some videos in other places that were not as restricted, and it really took off. And then that was when I got fired. And then everybody wants to see these videos. And so we went from like 5 followers on OnlyFans to 12,000 in a day.
In a day? Wow. So what's the status with the university? Obviously, you said once your account exploded and there were more people seeing it, how did they bring this up to you? I'm curious because was it someone in the school administration who actually saw it, or did someone report you to them? What was the story?
We don't know who reported it. And then basically I was fired by email, really, and the press was told before even we knew about it. And that was, I guess, understandable from the chancellor role, but as a faculty member at a university, that was really amazing that they would fire me for that, because faculty typically have a lot of freedom with what they do when they're not working.
It's hard for me to believe.
That's a little disingenuous. First of all, it sounded like you said faculty. But come on. Yeah, that's my home life. I do porn with my wife, and I upload it publicly. And the students here I want them to subscribe. Okay. It's a little bit of a disingenuous thing here.
Believe, because you guys are so smart that
he's middle-aged.
Know
yeah, right.
What would go down when you start posting these videos on non-restrictive sites? That you had to know there was a good chance, if not certainty, that the university was going to come down on you like a ton of bricks.
Perhaps you're not going to have the
he should be. I came down on her like a ton of bricks.
Be a porn star. That's just not going to work out real well. But we did think that perhaps they would, if they were going to fire him from the chancellor position, they would do so like they typically do when presidents or chancellors get into trouble. They call you up and say, "Gee, we've got a problem. How about you step down for personal reasons?" And Joe had already announced that he was going to retire at the end of the year anyway from the chancellor position. So it just would have accelerated that by, say, a semester. But that's not how they did it. Instead, they did a huge media splash and called our behavior abhorrent and disgusting. And
which got you 12,000 followers.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. That's not what we'd hoped for, nonetheless. And
I can see some people subscribing because they're probably like, all right, what are they want to know what they're doing. What are they role playing as? What's their thing? I wonder how many people unsubscribed pretty quickly.
But to fire him from a tenured faculty position was something that we really were surprised about. And we think it was wrong, and that's why we're pursuing the lawsuit.
Any reactions from other people?
Romulik says, okay, Chad, how much money to have sex with her?
People in your lives, from family members, neighbors, students.
Students, you mentioned students. Students, I think.
Look at that look on his face when he said that. Look at that shit-eating grin.
For the most part, have gotten a big kick out of it. We will be out and about in the community. Even when before this happened, we'd be out and about, and students would come up and say, "Oh, Chancellor, can I get your picture?" And so I would take their camera and take their picture. And but since this is broke, students come up to us and they say, "We want pictures with the both of you."
Yeah.
You know, and we think that you're cool, and don't let them drag you down. And that's the same kind of comments we get when we're out and about in the community.
that Carl
for the most
Sagan?
part, you know, there are
Rami.
certain people who clearly are uncomfortable with it, and you know, we understand that. But the kinds of comments that we get from strangers, alumni, students, neighbors, acquaintances, old high school classmates, it's overwhelmingly positive and supportive.
Old high school classmates. I hadn't talked to you in 55 years, but I did stumble across your video on Pornhub. Great stuff. Really great stuff. Liars, says Dee's laughs. Yeah. This freak has a very punchable face, says Steve. The TMZ guy looks more like the grabber meme too, says Dee's. Literally 12 million years old. Yeah, they definitely. It's funny they call themselves middle aged. They're definitely. I mean, they got to be in their. I'd say probably late 60s. They call their couples account Cracker Barrel. Yeah. Everybody wants to see those Yeah, I don't think so. Bobblehead alert, says Steve. So much of this online porn funding is just money laundering. I think that there's definitely something to that, JC, for sure. And then Ronwick says, I think when you see some of these numbers about OnlyFans girls making tens of millions, I think it's fake. It's some kind of some kind of money laundering. Says Ronwick also. It definitely a way to launder money. That and books that politicians and people like Jake Tapper sell that are #1 on Amazon before they even come out that nobody wants to buy. That they're claiming to reveal truths that people already know, that they helped cover up. It's all a lot of money. There's a lot of money laundering schemes around. Like that'd be a good list to make, you know, of modern money laundering operations, because there's so many. Like Wayfair, I think that's one there. Definitely an OnlyFans. I don't. They obviously want you to watch this documentary. I'm not going to, but there's definitely some holes in their story, just as there are some holes in their OnlyFans videos, I'm certain of. Nevertheless, thank you guys for watching, for hanging out, and for the great chat and conversation. Always enjoy it. And we'll be back on Thursday to do it again. Propagandafight.com. If you like the show and you're listening on audio and you want to support and you don't want to subscribe to any of the subscription platforms, just let the ads play through. We don't get anything if you don't, if you skip the ads. If you want to subscribe to patreon.com/propaganda report or propreport.locals.com, what you'll get there is you get the audio version of the show. I take the ads out, and you also get access to the show that Sam Tripoli and I and Austin Picard do called Whatever This Is. It's a fun show, and you can get it on both of those platforms. And share the show. Leave a 5-star review if you enjoy it, or you can smash like and leave a tip on Rumble or YouTube and Instagram. Also on Instagram. Those are all the places. At Freedom Act Radio on X with all the links in bio. And peace out. Peace out, Rhymlix. Bye, JC. See you guys later. See you, TT. See you, D's last. See you, Steve. You guys have a fantastic rest of y'all's evening. Thank you, guys.